Pargh. I'm a graduate of Florida Central Academy. I graduated in 1972. I'm here in New Smyrna Beach. I'm visiting and I'm staying here at the Riverview Hotel. And here with me is a gentleman that I went to high school with for 2 years, Marc Melanson. Marc, how are you today?
Good, Andy. Good to see you.
Okay, so tell me, what years did you go to Florida Central Academy?
I went to Florida Central in 1970. That was the fall that I arrived. I was there for the year of 71, 72, and 73.
Now, when you look back, and I guess the first question I ask is, what motivated your family to send you to Florida Central Academy?
Well, I wasn't doing real good in my school in Daytona Beach. Academically, I was not doing well, and my father, he wanted to make sure I got a high school diploma and moved on to college. So he started looking around, looked at some military schools, and we settled on Florida Central.
Do you think that looking back now that you received a better education there than you would have in the path you were on in public school?
I definitely did. I really did. I went from being a low D student to being a high C, B student. And I graduated and went on to college like my father wanted. So mission accomplished as far as I'm concerned.
Now, when you look back on your experiences there, are there any stories or situations that you feel kind of outline your experience while you were there?
Oh, well, yeah, there's a lot of stories, Andy, which I'm not going to tell.
Let's keep them G-rated here.
Well, I think for someone who we had a great family, 6 children in my family, and we had a good home life, and I'd never been away from home. So going to Florida Central and being away from home and being in a totally different environment was a big change for me. But it was one that I assimilated to very quickly. I loved it from the very get-go. There was a young guy on my hall. His name's Tony Mason, who's no longer with us, but he happened to live in Ormond Beach. He lived about 5 miles away from where I grew up, and we became fast friends. And it was nice. It was nice to meet a lot of different people from different places. Just around the corner from me, there was Cesar Perez, who's Cuban descent, and his roommate was Robin Ingrahm, who had a British family and from one of the islands. A lot of Venezuelan people and Colombian people. And people from all over the United States, but it was a lot of fun just getting to know a lot of people.
And did you go to college after Florida Central?
I did. I went to Daytona Beach Community College for 2 years, and then after that I went to I became an electrician, so I went to trade school for 3 years and became a journeyman electrician.
Okay. Now, one thing, I'm going to jump around here in the interview, and I hope you don't mind. This week is a major week for you. You're getting ready to undergo
it is,
surgery. Now, of course, all of us wish you the best, and by the time this video is up, hopefully this surgery went very smooth.
I hope so.
Do you want to share with us what's going on?
I have, everybody has a bit of a heart murmur. Mine turned out to be a little bit more serious than most people's, and I have a problem with my aortic valve. It's kind of calcified and not working properly. So I went through a lot of testing, and they decided the best thing to do is to replace the valve. So on September 2nd, I'm going to have an open heart surgery to replace that valve and possibly bypass one artery. So they tell me it's quite routine. My sister went through the same thing a few years ago and went through it very easily. I also have a brother-in-law who went through the same procedure, so I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm more concerned about the recovery than anything else, than the actual procedure. I've got one of the best surgeons around,
what does the recovery entail?
It's going to be about 3 months before I can lift anything more than 10 pounds because your breastbone has to heal and grow back together again. I just need to do a lot of walking, a little bit of exercise, and watch my diet a little bit. And
so goodbye prime ribs and steaks and hello fish.
Yeah, a lot of fish and a lot of chicken.
Well, you're living in the right part of the country.
Well,
right here on the water, so it's,
yeah.
That would make it a little bit easier for you.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of success
Thank you.
on the recovery. And you think that you're going to be out of service for just a couple months, or?
My surgeon said that I could probably return to work in about a month if I can, restrict myself to my desk, which it might not be too bad for me. And then he said it's going to be about 3 months before I can swing a golf club. That's the hard part for me.
I've seen a lot of people have this procedure return to golf, and sometimes their game's a little bit better because they're swinging slower and hitting the ball something more solid.
Maybe, yeah.
With all the friends and the classmates you had at Florida Central, do you still keep in contact with them? Yes,
I do. I talk to a lot of people routinely on Facebook through the FCA page. There's a couple of people that are that live in my proximity that I get to see once in a while. Being in Florida, there's a lot of people in Florida, so we have some mini reunions here and there. I have only missed 2 of the reunions that the schools had over the years, and really looking forward to the next one. I hope it'll be sometime next year. I think Laurie Booth is trying to organize something for 2015. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Yeah, I've remained close, although there were periods of time when I didn't hear from anyone, but I think the reunions are a great catalyst for that, for bringing people together, and we do have a newsletter that goes out that it's kind of fun to follow. You can, reminds you that someone's having a birthday. I like to send somebody I like to send them a little notice or on their birthday. So it's, I do try to stay in touch with as many people as I can.
Now, going back to your days at Florida Central, if I'm saying, correct me if I'm wrong here, but your first year, it was mostly, boys or male students.
Yeah.
The second year, and again, I believe they had some day students in.
Yeah.
The second year, they began boarding girls.
Yeah.
In the third year, it was, quite co-ed. How has it changed over the years? When you look back, what was it like going from strictly being a boys' school with a few girls up to being a fully co-ed school?
Well, 70-71, we had, I think there was only 2 girls boarding in 70-71, and there was a lot of day students, and that changed dramatically in the next year, 71-72, when we had, I think one of the schools closed, and one of the girls' boarding schools closed in the area, and that brought us about 30 or 40 girls. That was a dramatic change. It was a lot of fun.
Then how was it on year 3 when more and more, ladies or girls?
Year three, I think in year 2 they put the girls down in the 300 building, and the next year they had gained so many that they took over the south wing. And it was a big impact. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of girls. There were and a lot of wonderful young ladies that we had a lot of fun with, and found a lot of things in common with, and it definitely made life more interesting in FCA.
How did it change the dynamic in the classroom? At one point, I know when I was there, basically it was all men in the classroom.
Yeah.
And that provided fewer distractions. How did it change over the 3 years you were there?
I don't know that I could say there was a noticeable change. I don't know. I don't think I could really answer that this far out. It didn't seem to be that much difference to me. But what I do remember is that school was always a lot of fun, and it was. I think I really think what the girls did when the girls arrived, it really made it feel more like family, because you had brothers and sisters. We were all just a band of brothers, if you will. The first year I was there. The second year that I was there, it was. It was more like, our brothers and sisters were all together, and it really kind of felt that way, like we were all there together. We were all looking out for each other. I don't want to say it was us against the establishment or the faculty, because it never felt that way. But well, certainly,
Now that you mentioned faculty, were there any faculty members or teachers that stood out to you that greatly had an impression on your life?
Oh yeah, definitely. All of them did. The first year that I was there, Mr. Delong, I don't know if you remember Mr. Delong, I'm sure you do, who I thought was really a great old guy. I think he made me think of older friends of my father. My father had a lot of friends in his life that were a little bit older than him. And Mr. Delong, for some reason, made that kind of an impression on me. I really enjoyed his class. I didn't, however, enjoy having to do demerits with him on Saturday morning, because he went from this really sweet old guy to the meanest little bastard on the planet. But yeah, a lot of them were really good. Of course, Mr. Coleman, Mr. Brooks. I remember Ted Kudnick as being a wonderful guy who I felt Ted was more of a friend than he was an educator, but I certainly learned an awful lot from Ted, and I thought we had a really good friendship, and I think we still do. I do occasionally write to Ted and hear from him now and then.
Well, let me see. In closing, are there any comments that you'd like to make to your fellow students or faculty?
Well, I look forward to seeing everybody at the next reunion. I hope it's soon, and I hope we can all spend more time together. Now that we're all reaching retirement and times are getting close. I hope that everybody will remember our faculty at this time, because they're quite a bit older than we are, and they're getting close to the end. I enjoyed our time a few weeks ago with Bob Soukup, and it was a lot of fun for me to be around him again and see a totally different side of the Mr. Soukup that I knew. I worked for him for 2 years as his maitre d', and I found out that Bob Soukup is totally a different person. So it was nice to remember him and to see him and to do some things for him and help him out a little bit, because he certainly shaped my life. I think they all did. They made a big impression on all of us. Even though that you may not think that, I think when you reflect on who these people were and what they did for you, it's nice that we can take a minute and give them a nod or maybe a hand, or just say hello. I think it means a lot to them.
And very well said. Well, Marc, again, I wish you the best of success on your surgery.
Thanks, Andy.
And a rapid recovery. And I'm sure through Facebook that people will be sending you their well wishes. And again, get well soon.
All right.
Marc, thank you so much for your time.
All right, Andy. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks for watching. I'm Andy Pargh.